All right, so here we are, episode 2 of Real Talks, and today the one that we are diving into is called Keep Going. And I actually recorded this one whenever I was just having a really bad day and a really bad week because it felt like things were just compounding into one another. And that's a hard place to be at because one thing goes wrong, I'd say every day something goes wrong. It might be big, it might be small. But whether it's something out of your control that goes wrong, or it could be something that somebody just says to you goes wrong, that's just life. Things are always not gonna go as planned, and that's okay. But that one week that I recorded those ones, it felt like everything was adding up. I believe in the same week, lost footage, forgot to shoot some footage, and something else that I can't necessarily remember. But it was just consecutive days that this kept happening, and I was so mad at myself. If you know anything about me, you know that I get mad at myself whenever I do things that I could control. I rarely ever get mad at people. I rarely ever even really get upset about anything. Definitely don't get angry. But whenever I do something that I know I could have done better at, that's whenever I really get mad. And it's a hard situation to be in whenever you have those things add up that are totally in your control. So the one where I forgot the shot, I could have had a shot list. I could have had something written down where I knew exactly what I needed to accomplish. And I knew in the back of my head every shot that I needed to get for this project to turn out exactly how I wanted, but I didn't have that shot list. I didn't have it written down. I didn't have a checklist in front of me whenever I was doing it. And I find that happens whenever I have busy days too. So I know I have to get a lot done, and whether it's me sitting at home knowing I have a lot of edits to do, or it's me just out in the field having multiple shoots, I always forget about something if I don't have it actually written down. And whenever I don't have things written down, I tend to go off the cuff, and I tend to go more for the run and gun style that doesn't always turn out great. Sometimes you hop on calls with the clients and they want these specific things, but if you don't have that list in front of you whenever you're actually shooting it, you're gonna forget what exactly they were looking for. And the second mistake that I made was that I lost some footage, and I've been doing this too often recently. It's kind of been bothering me, and I've put some things in place so that I can avoid doing this. But it's totally in my control to come home and dump the footage. I should get in a habit, and I slowly am getting into a habit of as soon as I get home from a shoot, I dump the footage, and then it's done. I have it ready to edit. I have it ready to send off. Whatever the project entails, the shooting part is done as soon as I dump the footage. It's not done after the last clip is recorded. Because at the end of the day, if I format that card, the footage is never there. So I'm going to have to reshoot it. And it sounds like such a simple thing that can be fixed so easily, but it really isn't, because sometimes you get home from those shoot days and you just want to be done. But if you dump that card, then you know it's done. You know you can just format that card immediately, and you have everything stored on your hard drive. Whenever you come home, finish, then it's actually a breath of fresh air, because 2 days later, if you never sit down at your laptop because you've been shooting a lot of things, you might be out in the field and your card fills up. Then what do? I know you probably have multiple memory cards, but it's not ideal. I have some memory cards that allow my camera to shoot to the best of its ability, and some that I can still use, but my camera has limitations whenever I use them. So if my camera if I'm using my camera a lot with that same memory card, with that my one memory card that I really like, that really allows me to use my camera for whatever I need it for, if that fills up, I'm kind of done. I can't shoot in different specs. And my camera actually starts to slow down as well. But an easy way to avoid that is to dump footage right after a project is finished. And I've learned from these mistakes. I've figured out ways that I can avoid them. Some people would say it's inevitable for these things to happen, and I think it's inevitable for these mistakes to be made, but you have to learn from them. Whenever you learn from them, then it's okay. But if you really never do anything about it, it's just going to keep happening over and over again. So I created a project tracker. This is for me to have just for my own personal use, not for anyone else. And I have it so as soon as I'm done with a project, I go in and I put, or as soon as I'm done shooting a project, rather, sorry about that, I go in, I put the name of the project, and I put if I've dumped the footage or not. And that just has a note for me, so I know that I have it. So whenever I'm on site for my next shoot, if I'm a little bit hesitant if I dump the footage or not, I can look in my notes and I can see, yep, I did it. It's all done, period. So the footage is in a safe place. I don't have to worry about losing it. And that's helped me, and kind of it relieved some anxiety whenever I was on these shoots, because there's nothing worse than whenever you're on site and you need some storage and you're like, oh, but did I dump that? It sucks. It really does. And leading into a more relatable part of it with just everyday life, whenever things are adding up, which is kind of what half of the reel was. I didn't dive into what the specific scenario was that I had going on, so that was that right there. But everyone has these moments where it seems like everything is just going downhill. All the shit is hitting the fan, and you really just can't get a win. It could be in your personal life, it could be in work, it could be in both. The worst is whenever you have your personal life and work both having bad things at the same time, and you really feel like you can't get out of it, because you go to work, things are going wrong. You get home, things are going wrong. So then it's like there's no escaping. But I would say find those habits for yourself that really help you. Whenever you are sitting there and in your own thoughts, that's whenever these things are really going to eat away at you. And when the things are eating away at you, it is not good for any part of your life. It's not good for your friends. It's not good for your family. Anyone that you're surrounding yourself with a lot of the time is going to start to pick up that you're not doing great. And you always, probably if you're like me, you always want to be the person in the room that's giving off good energy. I pride myself off of being a positive light in the room. It's not always that case, because that's hard. And you're not always going to be in the best mood possible, but you can do everything you can to get to that point. Whenever you are in a good mood, whenever things are going well, it's easy to be the positive person in the room. It's easy to brighten people's day, but you need to keep that energy whenever things aren't going so well. I had this a couple months ago. I just was in a rut, and it was a creative rut, personal rut. Personal things are happening that honestly I wasn't in a great headspace, and I would talk to my friends about it, and they all would give me the same answers whenever I would tell them like I felt bad about talking to them about it. And they would always just say, don't feel bad, because you need somebody to talk to about it. But I felt bad because I always pride myself in being the person that they come to talk to. I want to be the person that if somebody's having a bad day, they know they can come to me and I'm going to give them what they need to hear. And it might just be me listening. It might be somebody literally rambling for 45 minutes talking about exactly what they're feeling. And that's what you need sometimes. That's what I need sometimes. Rather, that's kind of what this is. I like talking. Eventually, I hope this right here turns into talking to people, because I would love to get into interviewing. So, side note, if you're listening and you have any interest in being on this and you have anything interesting to talk about, or you do something cool, hit me up. But going back to where I was, it's okay to go to people, and it's okay to talk to people about things, because everyone's going through similar things. Everyone can relate to how you're feeling. You might feel like you're alone right now, and you might feel like you just are a burden on people, but that's not the case. And whenever you're going to your friends, whenever you're asking for opinions, whenever you just need somebody someone to ramble to, that's okay. You are normal. And I would just say, don't beat yourself up about not always being the most positive person in the room. I personally enjoy being the positive light in the room, and I like whenever people enjoy being around me as well. But I can't be that 24/7. I can't be the bubbly, laughing Joey every single second of every single day, because that is just hard to do. Nobody has peak energy every second of the day. I have friends that are just those really good energy people. But whenever I get to know them better, I'm not saying they get really sad or anything, but they're just like everyone else. Maybe the doors close and then they start to really just like get not sad, but they're just exhausted because they have that persona on all the time. So you might not be like the super crazy bubbly person who's always gonna be like the high energy in the room, because that's not me either. I'm not super high energy. I'm rather not low energy. I'm positive, but I'm not gonna like be yelling in the room. I'm not gonna be like the wild one. But it's okay to not be super positive all the time. But going along with that, don't bring people down. If you're down, don't bring people down with you. There's a difference between bringing people down with you and talking to somebody about the problems that you're having. There's a time and place for talking to somebody, but there's never a time and place for bringing somebody down. If you're having a bad day, it doesn't mean that other people have to have a bad day. You need to think about other people aren't going through the same things that you are. And at the same time, other people have been through the same things that you are going through. So just try and be the positive person. Try and help people whenever they need it. And it's tough whenever things are adding up, but just know you will get past it. And it's the cliche thing of saying that you will get past it, but it's the truth. Everyone goes through a lot of different stuff in their life. And whether it be easy, whether it be hard, you got to realize that what you're going through is your problem right now. It might not seem like a big problem to somebody else. And I heard in a podcast recently, I think it was Logic with Jay Shetty. He brought up the fact that, like, whenever your sibling in middle school, it has something going on, which sounds irrelevant. If their middle school boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with them, you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, like nobody cares about that. You'll forget about it in next week, or it won't matter in 5 years. But in that moment, that's what they're going through. And so you have to respect that that's their problem. And it's the same reason why people give wealthy and successful people crap for being sad. But even though they have a lot of money and they might have a lot of fame, it doesn't mean that everything is great. Everyone has their own problems. Everyone has their own life. So just understand what people are going through. Do your thing, help people out, and people will be good to you. Now that's pretty much it. That's all I have for today. And I'm I'm really passionate about this, if you couldn't tell. I want you to be the best person in the room. I want you to be a great person, but I also want you to know that people are there for you. If things are adding up, it's okay. You will get through it. You will keep pushing. And if you're out there consuming good content, which I like to think this is, then you're in the right place. You're in a starting point. You're in a good atmosphere where you're going to have good people surrounding you, and you're trying to find like-minded individuals, which is a start. So just keep going, just like I titled the reel, and just keep your head down, keep moving forward, and just stay positive, okay? Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks.